Let me ask you a dumb question. Who doesn't want a pet? In most MMOs, having a pet is a feat of strength, and Flyff is no exception. But on top of just being furry or ferocious, pets actually have a major impact on your gameplay. Not to be confused with pickup pets that eat up all the others of the ground and steal the rare drop that your friend just got, race pets grant you stat boosts that will add a cherry on top of your character's performance and can be replaceable companions when done correctly. Hey, what is up guys, it's Emenalus, and today I'll be telling you how to get your own furry friend and take care of them. Disclaimer though, you cannot tame giraffes. I'll also be talking about what plans I have for 2024, but more on that towards the end of the video. But anyway, let's get started. All race pets start from hatching an egg that you can drop fairly often from slaying monsters. This can be done by somehow feeding it with 10 bags of pet candy F, which can be made at the pet tamer with some penny and berries that you can collect, which I'll talk about a little later. Once the egg is fully fed, you can take it back to the pet tamer, who will give you a quest that will hatch your egg into a grown F-class pet. How did it fit in an egg? Don't ask me. There are many different types of pets that can come out of an egg, and the outcome is random, with each one of them granting different stat boosts. White tigers give strength, old foxes give int, and rabbits give dex, to only name a few. They also come with their own grace abilities, which gives a temporary booster to another specific stat. Overall, there are 9 different types of pets that you can get, and I'll leave a link to a convenient list from Flyffipedia and other materials in the description below. When pets are summoned, they passively grant you the stat boost shown. However, keeping a pet summoned drains their energy, which is depleted in minutes. For example, F-class pets have 180 energy, which means that they can remain active for up to 3 hours before the energy runs out, assuming you don't use the pet's grace ability, which also uses 50 energy. When the pet runs out of energy, instead of mercilessly dying like they used in original Flyff, they only turn inactive and it will not grant you the stat boost until their energy is refilled again. This is done by making some more of that pet candy in the pet tamer that I mentioned earlier, and 1 bag is enough to fill their health bar completely. Do be careful though if you're carrying multiple bags of candy, as the game will assume by default that you want to feed them all at once. You'll want to change the amount of feed you use appropriate to how many you actually want to use, and there's a reason why. Each bag of feed will also increase the pet's EXP, just like during their incubation phase, and maxing out their EXP allows them to advance to the next class at the pet tamer. Increasing your pet's class makes them stronger and improves the effectiveness of their given stat bonus. Each class up also gives them 30 additional max energy, so evolving from class F to class E, for example, would increase their maximum energy to 210, meaning your pet can handle 3.5 hours of uptime. Things aren't as simple as advancing from one class to another, however, at least if you aim to make an actually good pet. Naturally, there's a catch involved with pet leveling, and it's the fact that each class level up isn't bound to be quite the same. Each class comes with its own level, and the higher this class level is, the better the stat boost from each class is. Overall, pets have 7 different classes, or ranks if you will, and higher ranks come with even bigger variety in levels. Pets can go from F class all the way to S, and the maximum possible level is distributed as follows: 1 for F, 2 for E, 3 for D, 4 for C, 5 for B, 7 for A, and 9 for S. This is commonly referred to as the perfect pet level, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9 among players. This number means that the pet can acquire any level between 1 and the said number for a class, so for example with D class, this level can be anywhere between 1 to 3. The stat bonus for a certain level is the same regardless of what class you're in, so aiming for the highest possible level for a class would give them most benefit out of them. You can also check the effect of each level from the resources in the description below. However, reaching a higher level becomes increasingly tougher, and getting to the desired maximum level on the first try is unlikely further down the road. In the event you end up with an unsavory level for your pet, another thing that you can do is reroll it. To do so, you can sacrifice a pet of the same rank or better at the pet tamer. As the name implies, this will consume the sacrificial pet in the process, and consuming a pet with a higher class than the pet being rerolled improves the chance of getting one of the higher levels in the spectrum. This can be done an infinite amount of times, and in the event your outcome is the same or worse, your pet will keep its current class level until you reroll a better value. Despite the remorseful approach though, engineering yourself a good pet will quickly end up costing you a right arm and a left leg, especially when talking about later classes. In order to demonstrate, let's take a step back and talk about feeding again. Remember when I said that pet candy F requires some penny and berries? Well, just like pets, candies also come in different tiers, and pets require feed that is equal to their tier, with the exception of S tier pets still using A tier feed. The prices ramp up respectively, in addition to each pet candy also requiring one from the previous tier in order to be made. Let's put the giraffe brains to work. Making a pet candy F takes 200,000 penny, and hatching an egg requires 10. That would make hatching an F pet already 2 million by itself, along with the berries that are needed for making those. F-class pets only get half as much EXP from feed, meaning that you'll need to make another 20 bags of feed to evolve it into E-class. This means another 4 million down the drain, so I've already spent 6 million just to make a reroll for E tier. But this is where the real fun begins. Class E pets need Pet Candy E, which is a huge step up from Pet Candy F. You will need that, and another 500,000 in order to make Pet Candy E, along with even more berries. Because Pet Candy F already took 200,000 to make, a single bag of E candy totals into 700,000. Evolving an E class to D class takes another 20 candy to do, and 20 bags of E candy would cost 14 million in total to make, which means that a single reroll pet for D tier would cost 20 million to grow by hand. You won't need that many tries to get level 3 in D tier, but with each higher class making it harder to get the maximum possible level, and the price growing faster than my neck, making an ideal pet can raise the price up to hundreds of millions, even billions pretty quickly. Don't let the simplicity fool you. This mechanic was intended to be a money sink in the first place. It will eat your funds quickly if you allow it to. Fortunately though, not every sacrificial goat has to be grown by hand. If you happen to run dungeons sometime, you might come across these cages from time to time, which can be opened with cage keys rarely dropped from monsters there. These cages have a low chance of containing a pet meant for rerolls, saving you the expense of growing your own, and at least in Totemia, players typically sell them much lower than how much nurturing one would cost. Dungeons that are unlocked further down the game contain stronger pets, but also require better cage keys in order to be opened, but I'll be discussing dungeons in better detail in a future video. Not every pet by all means needs to be perfect, and it's more important to mind your own budget when getting into pets. You're better off saving for good gear in the future levels if it becomes affordable at this point, rather than squeeze out a few extra stat points out of your traveling companion. Pets at the end of the day are last in priority when talking about your build, and should be done in moderation if your budget doesn't allow for anything else. Now that you hopefully understand the fundamentals of growing your own pet, now's the time to quickly debrief you about berry harvesting as I promised. You can start collecting berries by buying a tool called Harvesting Gloves from the Pet Tamer, and using it to interact with berry bushes that you can find nearly anywhere with monsters. It is relatively cheap at a 500,000 price tag, so you can get into farming this for yourself or selling them to other players pretty early into the game. Looking into the pet candy crafting menu at the Pet Tamer, there are currently 3 different kinds of berries that you can find in the game. Cloudberries are used for crafting Pet Candy F and E, and these can be found in Flurries, Say Morning, and Garden Horizons, basically in all leveling zones from 50 and below. Light berries are required to craft Pet Candy D and C, which you can find in Darken 1 and 2. Lastly, Exoberries are required to craft the strongest pet candy, B and A, and can be found in Darken 3 and beyond. You can increase the effectiveness of the harvesting class by upgrading it up to +5 with power dice 8s and 10s, increasing its gathering speed and yield. Be warned though, as berries aren't the only thing you'll always find. Harvesting a berry bush may occasionally also spawn bugs called carriers, which will drop you a neat pile of berries when defeated. However, their levels are tied to the zone the berries are found from and not the player, so harvesting berries in a zone beyond your own level can be a death hazard if not handled with caution. Upgrading the glove also increases the probability that a carrier will spawn, which can be a double-edged sword depending on where you're farming. Overall though, upgrading the glove should be quite productive, so if you ever happen to have spare PDAs lying around, I recommend taking the chance to tune your gloves up a little. And with that being said, that's the gist of how the pet system in Flyff Universe works. I hope that this video answered all the questions that you may have had about it, and that you know what you're doing once the time to raise your own companion comes. If you would excuse me a moment, I want to take this chance to say that it's mind-blowing that this will be the last video I'm making this year as we are about to move on to 2024. These past few months on YouTube have been nothing short of exciting for me and have gone by so quickly, and I want to thank all of you guys for being part of this journey with me. Having a caring community behind what I do has been a great motivator for me, and I'm definitely looking forward to what the future holds. I've never been the type for New Year's resolutions, but this will probably be my first time having one going into 2024. As always, I'll keep new Flyff videos coming your way, and on top of that, as some of you loyal viewers might already know, I've been putting time aside to make content about other RPG games than just Flyff recently, and I have plans going forward with that too. Once I'm done with Moonlighter, I'm thinking of sharing my passion for the JRPG genre and going through the entire Yakuza series that I recently got my hands on, and can't wait to experience it from start to finish together with you. I might also feature me and my friends having a good time playing games that we love in respect to the RPG genre that we're all passionate about. At least mostly. You never know what crazy ideas we might sometimes get, only the future can tell. This of course is only a draft of what I have in store for you, and there's likely going to be even more cool stuff to come along the year. Regardless, I hope that you're as excited for 2024 as I am, and I hope you'll stick around for my crazy adventure. That aside though, I hope that the video was helpful. If you liked the video, or were left with any questions, don't hesitate to let me know in the comments below or leave a like on your way out. Feel free to share the video with others who might need it, and if you'd like to see more wild stuff from me, don't be afraid to subscribe to know when I'm uploading next. I won't buy it. But until next time, Happy New Year's and bye bye.